Hi, this is Will Wild, and in this video I'm going to be talking about why your harps keep going out of tune and what you can do about it to make them last longer. So people email me or comment under my videos all the time saying, wow, you must get through a lot of harps playing the style that you play. This aggressive kind of rock style must be really hard on the reeds. Well, actually no, it's not. Some of my harps last me for years. I'd say on average, a harp lasts me about 2 years. I've got some that have lasted much longer than that, maybe 4 or 5 years. And sometimes, you'll get unlucky and they'll go out after 6 months or so. But in my opinion, there are 2 main causes why they go out of tune. So I'm going to go through both of those. Now, the first cause is blowing and sucking too hard, pushing too much air. Now, I don't like to use the word suck when we're talking about harmonica because that's not really what you should be doing. We should be drawing the air in. So just normal breathing, inhaling, and exhaling from the diaphragm, not sucking and blowing with our cheeks going in and out. That doesn't sound good, and it's pushing way too much air through the reeds, which puts a lot of unnecessary stress on them. So if you think of like my Freebird video, for example, there's about a minute at a time of inhale on that. So although it sounds like I'm playing aggressively because it's quite an intense sound and it's quite fast, there's no way that I could play that if I was playing hard and pushing lots of air, because I'd just run out of air instantly. So that should be proof enough that I'm not using lots and lots of air, right? You just wouldn't be able to hold a note for that long if I was doing that. So number 1 is simple, just pushing too much air, doing this rather than breathing from the diaphragm. Cause number 2, which I think is much more common, is bad intonation on bends. So this is really more of an ear training thing. Now you might have noticed you blew out harps much more regularly when you first started playing. And as you've become a better musician, harps last you longer. And in my opinion, this is why. Because if we take draw 2 on a C harp, for example, it bends up to a tone. So that whole step bend should be the same note that you get in draw 5. Now, a lot of people, and I used to think this too, a lot of people think, well, draw 2 only bends a tone, so, I don't really have to worry about that bend. I just bend it down as far as I can, and it's going to be a whole step bend, and it won't go any more. Well, in actual fact, it will go a few cents over that. Okay, so you can actually go flat on that whole step bend. So just check, if you're going flat on that whole step bend all the time, then you're putting unnecessary stress on that reed, and it sounds bad because it's out of tune. Most people tend to blow out their hole 4 or 5. They're probably the most common holes to go. And again, it's because 4 draw only has a semitone bend. And people are trying, whether they even realize it or not, people are trying to bend it a full tone. So when we bend notes, we're tuning the inside of our mouth to the pitch of the bend that we want. So that's kind of the positioning for that four half step bend. If I go any further than that, it's just going to put more and more stress on the reed and cause it to go out of tune. And usually it's the blow reed in that hole. Although we're playing a draw bend, both the blow and the draw reed come into play on the draw bend, and it's usually the blow note that will go flat. With the 5 draw bends even less. It only bends half of a semitone. So people quite often apply too much bend to that note and their 5 blow will go flat. So the more you can train your ear, the better you get with your intonation on the bends, the longer your harps are going to last. Now, sometimes it's down to a monitoring issue. So I blew out a note on this harp, which I hadn't had for all that long, maybe 6 months or so. I blew out my 9 blow on this the other night, and I can tell you exactly why that happened. It's because I was playing with Bad Luck Friday at the Black Heart in Camden, and I couldn't hear a fucking thing on stage. It's a rock club. We were a loud band anyway, but it was very loud in there, and the monitoring wasn't very good. So I really could only hear myself because I had earplugs in, and I could sort of monitor from the acoustic sound resonating inside my own head, but I couldn't hear myself very well. So when I'm up the top here playing all these really high draw bends on the wild tuning, it's quite easy to bend too much because you don't have to adjust this mechanism very far at all on these really high notes. It's easy to apply too much bend to a note, and that's going to stress it out. So over the lockdown, sort of COVID period, the last couple of years, I wasn't out playing live at all in that time. But I did play my harps much more on a daily basis than usual. I was playing pretty much all day, every day. But all just at home or in the studio here, where I've got perfect monitoring, usually headphones on, so I can hear exactly what I'm doing. And I didn't blow out a single harp in those 2 years. And this is why. I wasn't doing these two things. I could hear myself perfectly, so my bends were on point, and I wasn't pushing too much air because I could hear myself fine. So that's my advice on that. I hope it helps. If you want to improve your breath technique, if you want to improve your intonation and your bending technique, I have a free beginner harmonica course. If you want to take things further, I also have my ultimate blues harmonica soloist course. Just go to willwildharmonicamasterclass.com. I'll put a link below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.